Man, this internet stuff is funny, man. You got so many people that never jumped off the porch running their mouth about street stuff, right? So now everybody calling Gucci Mane a rat. They saying that Gucci's a rat because allegedly he's supposed to snitch on Pooh Shiesty and Big 30, right? He put them at the scene of the crime. He said that they had the firearms. He gave them their Instagram, their real names. Like, you know, he was calling out everything and telling on everybody. And the feds got it in the paperwork, right? So now this stuff is going viral. Everybody's talking about it. And now they're saying that Gucci's trying to save face, right? Because now this would ruin his career. Why? You jiggers telling yourself every day. Y'all do drills and then go make songs about it and put people names in it, right? You tell everything that you do. So the game is over, right? Like, y'all funny as hell. Y'all snitch on everything, play internet cop, and do all that kind of stuff, but want to hold Gucci to a standard to the point where now people talking like this.
Pooh Shiesty update. I'm going to play the clip. The clip puts to bed any idea that Pooh is cooked. You're going to hear Big 30's lawyer talking about Gucci's plans on testifying. For good measure, the reporter from a respected news outlet out in Texas saying the FBI hasn't exactly heard from Gucci. Check this out.
Interesting thing that we've seen in the last couple of days is that Gucci Mane has come out publicly and said that he's not cooperating with the government.
And it is worth noting that last week we did hear from an FBI agent who said that he had not heard from Gucci Mane either. He also noted that there were no working video cameras inside this recording studio at the time of this incident. Darcy.
If Gucci does not testify, the question of is Pooh cooked comes down to 2 paragraphs in the complaint plus 1 picture. I'll show them to you and walk you through it. What's very interesting about the picture is this is not like what you might imagine the recording studio looks like, with a couch, a bunch of buttons and boards, a glass plate, and then boom, the recording area directly in front of you. It looks like the recording area is somewhat off to the side, completely enclosed. It is not at all clear that anybody in the control room could actually see into the studio. And it's definitely clear that there could be people in parts of the control room who would not be able to see into the recording area at all.
So people are alleging that Gucci is worried about his image. They say, well, you made a name for yourself talking about this street stuff in the game and now and made a whole lot of money off the underbelly of our culture. Well, he comes from that, right? But now he's been away from that for many years. He's a married man, right? He's making millions. See, we hustle to get out of our current circumstances back then. That's what we did because you didn't want to stay there. Nobody wants to live like that. We didn't want to normalize that way of living. We wanted to get out of that way of living, right? Y'all want to stay. Y'all conditioned to believe you're supposed to stay there, die, and go to jail for the rest of your life. We never believed that. And unfortunately, a lot of us died or went to prison because of it. But we was desperately trying to get out, and you was willing to do anything to get out of it. Y'all want to hold him to old street stuff where Pooh Shiesty signed a contract and was making millions of dollars. He wasn't on the block broke. Desperate, moving out of desperation. Like, y'all got the game all messed up. And then, so now he's trying to save his reputation for being called a snitch. So now Pooh Shiesty's lawyer is throwing him all the way under the bus. He did a press conference and said this.
COHEN, Psalm Zengane, and John Helms.
And any question, just look straight in the middle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we had a bond hearing today and a PC hearing today. I think that the relevant things that were said today that I thought were fascinating were that it took 3 months to build a case. And I think the reason for that was because the statements that were given on the evening that this occurred were very questionable. I think the way that the statements were made, what was made, what allegedly was witnessed and what wasn't witnessed, I think gave great pause to the FBI. The FBI doesn't take 3 months to arrest someone if they believe everything that was said on the night that it occurred. They were involved the first night, and then nothing happened for 3 months. In addition to that, I thought was quite embarrassing was that an FBI agent says they don't have the resources to keep their eye on an individual. This is allegedly an individual that committed a crime that they then didn't watch to see if the guns were present, if the jewelry was present. And what didn't we hear today? What we didn't hear today is there is no contract, this mystery contract. They have no contract. They have no video of this alleged signing of a contract. They have no guns. They have no jewelry. They have none of that physical evidence. What they have is they have allegedly 5 individuals, one of them being a very well-known individual that is allegedly cooperating with the government and making these allegations against my client.
So some people saying that there's footage. Some people saying that there is no footage. At this point, we really don't know. But what we do know is Gucci had an off-duty police officer with him as a security guard. He had a cameraman. He had people that was there with him. That Gucci wasn't the only person that got robbed. So they're saying that nobody would have known anything about this crime had Gucci not told. Well, Gucci ain't the only one that was robbed on this, that was assaulted. We heard that there was one dude that was choked out. So there's a whole lot of things. But this is the part people leaving out. If he did commit this crime, he had just did 36 months, wasn't it like 36 months on a 63 months federal sentence, Pooh Shiesty, and was on an ankle monitor. So you out here with you done made millions of dollars. You're not broke in the hood, desperate no more, right? Instead of handling this thing in the courts, you go get firearms while on home confinement and commit this crime, and y'all want to make excuses for him? This is the problem with our community and why we can't change. Yeah, someone said, well, George, you've been a hypocrite. Look at all the stuff you've been through. Yeah, that means that I know better. And that means that I want us to do better and be better. And we got to start holding ourselves accountable more, right? But his lawyer wasn't done.
I'm going to take like 1 or 2 questions and then we're going to scoop.
You're essentially arguing that only a he said kind of case, no evidence.
Correct. Yeah, it's very fair. I think that this is a he said type of a case. I mean, obviously, there's 5 individuals on one side. What we're missing are the other people that were present in the room, right? The owner of the studio who says he didn't hear anything or see anything. The way they leave the studio, where no one is in concert with anybody else, no one's arguing with anyone else. One of the individuals says, "Hey, can I get my watches back?" Like, the story is quite unusual. And I think that the FBI knew that. I think the investigators knew that it was unusual. And I think that's why it took so long to make the arrest. My main thrust of today was to really push on the evidence and see exactly what they had and when they had. How about this? How about the individual who wrote the complaint, who actually drafted the complaint, who was sitting in the courtroom, who's only been an FBI agent for 4 years, does not take the stand. They put someone else on to say what she wrote in her own complaint when she's sitting in the courtroom. And that's done quite often in gamesmanship because they don't want to put a rookie on the stand and be measured by our legal team.
How far away is this from trial?
Oh, who knows? You know, we're going to get discovery. We'll take a look at their discovery. They're going to say it's ongoing. I mean, think about it. They had 3 months to get this stuff. They had 3 months to get warrants. They didn't get warrants that night. They didn't get warrants the next night. They didn't get warrants the next month. They didn't get warrants the month after. They waited 3 months to get warrants on whether or not there's guns, whether or not there's jewelry. How about their cell phones? How about the computers? That gives me great pause when I see a case that takes that long to get warrants, if you believe everything that was said on the evening that it occurred.
So can you tell me
let me take one from her because she was talking last night.
Can you say anything about the identity of RD, and then you also spoke about a social media post you had made?
Correct. So, listen, I don't like when the government puts initials in and everyone takes a guess who they are. We all know who they are, right? I'm not going to say it's this person or that person. That's not my job to do. But certainly there have been media posts of individuals that we suspect were involved in that evening where they're denying that it occurred or they're denying that they're giving statements to the government. I think that's unusual as well because of what the government put forward today seems to negate those statements, but we'll have to see how.
So Pooh Shiesty's lawyer is now spilling all the beans, and what we're gathering now is when this robbery occurred, there was you had like your lounge area, and then inside the control room. Now, what went on inside the control room? Everybody wasn't inside there allegedly, right? But there's some dates set up where they're supposed to interview everybody that was involved. The feds was believing that Gucci was going to come and testify because he gave up statements that day. Right, what was it? RD was his name? Radrick Davis. I forgot his name, something like that. Right, but he was supposed to come testify. Right, he was supposed to. They believed that he was going to take the stand, but when he start coming from the streets, he's doing the moonwalk. He's backpedaling now, right? But more than likely, Pooh Shiesty probably going to come home, but it's going to hinge on the other people that was involved in this robbery. Will they be quiet? We're hearing that the owner himself is saying that he didn't see anything, he didn't hear anything, because what went on inside the control room didn't happen outside the lounge area, allegedly, right? So the lawyer now is saying that they're scheduling to interview all these people, and he's still talking.
Guys, Sam and I have had many cases together, right? We just finished a case a couple of years ago in San Francisco on the Cash App murder case. And whenever I talk to individuals, whenever I talk to the media, I always say this is not a straight road. It's always a very winding road. So we never know where things are going to take us. We got to look at the evidence as it comes in, and we'll see what's there. I'm just shocked that, you know, when they say there might be video out there, they don't have it. There might be this mystery contract, they don't have it. Oh, they were at Staples, you know, making copies. It's just a total guess. So, like, we're not here to guess. I'm here to look at the evidence, to weigh the evidence, and to make the best decision based on that evidence.
What your client just stays in detention until what?
Yeah, currently he'll stay in detention. We'll get discovery. We'll start going through that. There's going to be several motions that we're going to file, obviously, in the next couple of weeks, but that'll all come out. We'll get copies.
So did the feds even interview any of the people? Did the feds even interview any of the people yet? Any of the alleged victims?
So my understanding is the FBI has, over the past 3 or 4 months, has interviewed none of the alleged victims, and allegedly they all have future dates to give statements, but I have no idea if that's true. We're basing it on what the agent said on the stand, that each one of those witnesses from that evening is going to appear and give a statement to the federal authorities.
So RD never made a statement as of now?
Not to the FBI, but that evening it appears from the material that they produced and from the agent's testimony is that RD gave a statement that evening, but since that evening has not given another statement. But the FBI said in the future they're all scheduled to give statements, so we'll have to see.
Now, more than likely, the feds are going to try to come and force Gucci to testify. Now, he can get on the stand and say that, you know, he didn't see anything, man. I don't know what y'all talking about, man. Nothing really happened. We was all just having a conversation, drinking tea in the back, eating crumpets, right? He can say that, you know, we had a disagreement, you know, we start arguing. The next thing you know, we was playing spades, man. You know, he can say that, but it's all going to hinge on the other people. What are they going to be saying? Now, we know that this happened in January, so I'm sure that they probably already had communications. We in April right now, so, but... right, he's more worried about his reputation and his label and him having the ability to make money to the streets. So that's what he's worrying about. So more than likely, Pooh Shiesty will probably come up off of this, right? Because the streets is going to win again. You know, the underbelly of our culture is going to win again. But I tell you guys, I always tell you young guys out there, what do you learn from this? This is not the way to go. You get a kidnapping charge. That's like a life sentence, man. It's a wrap. With committing a crime with a firearm and a kidnapping charge, it's over for you, man. So this ain't the way to go, man. This ain't it, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, do you think that Gucci Mane is a rat? Do you think he's a rat today? Let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.